Hello, hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome to the Headmaster's Homeroom. I am Lady Hamilton, and tonight is the Reset Kitchen. So I hope you guys are excited for tonight as much as I am. Let's say hello to all of our wonderful viewers over there on Rumble, Pilled, X, and YouTube. So nice to see everyone here tonight. I am so grateful for you all joining me tonight. Let's do our homework. Let's not forget to hit those buttons, those likes, follows, shares. And I'm truly, unforgettably grateful for your guys' support with your rant, subscriptions, cash up, pills, tips, and more. Thank you guys for doing that. That helps the show continue on as we provide 5 different shows a week here for you. So welcome, welcome. And I hope you guys had a snack before you came because you are in for a treat. Everybody grab your paper and pencils because tonight we are making some amazing cheeseburgers and some potato and sausage wraps tonight. We're going to start with our amazing potato and sausage wraps. We kind of learned about those last week, and I'm super excited to show you my version of that recipe. I had a great time creating that, and then we're going to go into our delicious cheeseburgers with carnivore buns. We've topped those with sautéed mushrooms and onions, a wonderful little sauce I've made for that, with some great homemade French fries. So I hope you guys are excited to learn all about how we're going to make these food from our local sources. Grain-free tonight, eating as healthy as we possibly can, as chemically free as we possibly can. You guys know that that literally saved my life. As you know, I cannot tell you enough. Went from being basically paralyzed to living and thriving, getting all of that inflammation off my body and changing and making a lifestyle change. So it's truly my pleasure to show you guys how to do this and kind of have a second half to the wonderful health and healing class with Nurse Patrick. That is going to be our first half of the show. And then our second half of the show tonight is we're focusing on feeding your soul. We're going to have a video that shows us how small compromises can allow negativity and harmful influences into our life. And together we're going to explore how those small choices matter and steps we can take to recognize, remove, and guard against the quiet things that lead us away from peace, strength, and purpose. So excited that you guys are here with me tonight. I hope you guys are really hungry. Everybody pray that my videos go on without any kind of blurring. I'll definitely be with you in the chats today. As you guys, if you have any questions, I will be there to answer anything that you have for me. But again, I hope you guys are eager to see some amazing food. I know I had a great time making these things and making these videos for you. So, all right. Let's load up our first video here. Like I said, we're going to be doing our wonderful potato wraps. I'm just going to get those loaded up here. We saw a little brief video about that last week. This is definitely no 3-ingredient recipe, but I'll tell you what, they turned out amazing. And we finished it off with a wonderful dill cream sauce. So I hope you guys enjoy this as much as I had making it. So here we go. And like I said, if you guys have any questions, I will be in the chats with you as I put this on full screen for all to enjoy. So up first, guys, it's our wonderful potato and sausage wraps, Lady H's style. We are making this really wonderful rolled up potato burrito, wonderful dish. I'm going to have to come up with a name for this, but I just absolutely loved it. We're just going to call it a potato egg roll-up with all of these wonderful fixing in it. I'll have to come up with something much better than this. But this is something that I saw on a video, and I thought we were going to do it Lady H's style. I kind of joked because it was talked about a 3-ingredient recipe, and then after watching the video, there were several ingredients here. So as you can see, what you are going to need is you're going to need a server here. You're going to need a bell pepper diced up, some fresh diced garlic. I'm adding some jalapeno diced up. That is my interpretation. I'm going to be also adding in some wonderful diced mushrooms. I've also diced up a couple of small onions here. You are going to need some grated cheese. This is about 1.5 pounds of grated cheese. 2 potatoes peeled, cleaned, and shredded. And it calls for 3 eggs, but my eggs for my chickens are so small that we are going to be using 4. And so I have these things here that we're going to be showing you here too. Again, the main ingredients of these, we're going to definitely be using some onion. I'm adding jalapeno, bell pepper, mushrooms, and garlic. I'll show you guys how to cut and dice those. And they use chicken, but I love our local meat guy, and this is some of amazing unseasoned ground pork I've ever had in my life. We're also going to be using my 7 seasoning mix here, the H7 seasoning mix, and we are going to get to it. So I'm going to pause this and we'll get the plate set up and ready to go. All right, some of the tools you're going to need is you're definitely going to need some kind of cheese grater. You can definitely, if you have a food processor and have a grating attachment, that works really well as well. But I hand grated these. Sometimes I just like to do things by hand. So I've got a wonder handy dandy grater here, and I use the smaller side of this. And so once you grate it, you want to either rinse off your potatoes. I have mine soaking in water right now so they don't turn. I will rinse these off once we're ready to go. But I just wanted to let you know I've got a couple of potatoes here, finely grated in some water, just ready to go to be strained and rinsed off. Okay, you will also use this for your cheese later on, but it's something important to have. All right, so it calls for a couple of peppers, and I just want to show you because not everybody, knows how to cook. I've been seeing this kind of floating around on social media, so we are going to show you how I just take a pepper here and kind of split it like this, break it apart. To save those seeds for planting if you want. If not, just take those right out. Get our seeds out here. And ready to go. Get all of our seeds in. If you want to plant them and have wonderful bell peppers for the summer, it's about that time. I've also turned my oven on to 350. You're going to need to do that to get it warmed up. That's going to be needed in a few minutes. So what I do here is I just finely julienne our peppers. That means cutting them into small strips just like this. Move those aside. Some of these, I'm going to show you with this little white part to take that out, give it to my chickens. Just cutting these into small little julienne strips here. Putting those all together, just like this. And then you're just gonna, doesn't have to be perfect, but you're just gonna dice these up into small little pieces like this. Instead of watching me do hours of prep, I'm just going to show you a little highlight of how this goes. Just like that. I love color, so I've mixed this up with a red bell pepper and some orange. You can do green if you like, but I really love the sweetness of the red bell pepper. I'm just going to finish this one off. And if you have extra left over, you know what? You can just put a little lid on that, save it for later, and you've got prep going for the next meal. Sometimes it's good to have a few extra things like this so that you do have them ready for whatever you're going to create next. Maybe for an omelet the next day, maybe for some fajitas. I mean, you guys, prepping is never a bad thing. So if you have a little bit of excess, I love these little glass bowls. They come with amazing lids. I'm always using that for my husband's lunches as well to try to get rid of the plastic in our lives. So we are just, voila, we got this loaded up. We've got our pepper dice. I'm just going to give this a little mix so that we have a nice blend because we are going to need this for our recipe. Move that to the side. I have a little bucket here for chickens who love these little extra parts. So there we go on that. Jalapeno. Let me show you how to do a jalapeno. Pretty simple. When I'm cutting, a lot of these people cut down the middle, whatever. I do not do that. I go to the very outside of this, as you can see, and I'm just taking off the outside pieces. That's going to help you get rid of a lot of those seeds automatically. See how I just cut out the outside? Just like that, and it saves the seeded area for either planting or something else, but that's a great way to get rid of some of that heat. If you want some of that heat, just add a few seeds into it. We're going to do the same thing like we did with the bell peppers. We're going to just finely julienne this like this into small little strips. just like this. And we're going to put this together and just dice this up with small little pieces. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to put that right here, right into our glass dish. And voila. All right. Now we've got our jalapeno. Nice. All right. Mushroom next. Okay, so when I'm doing mushrooms, I slice it like I would an onion. Just like this, kind of pulling it together. And I just dice it up like this into small pieces. Just like that. Pretty easy. And into our mushroom mix. Saving the best for last. Oh, no, sorry. We got to do a piece of garlic. Then we'll save the fry for last. Garlic. After we peel it and stuff like this, just to get it, an ability to release those wonderful oils and so forth, and make it easier to mince, I take my knife, put it over it, and I slam down like this. So we've got some beautiful little smashed garlic. And we are just going to slice this up like this. And then just take this like this, just mince this up. Clean our plate, back over, just mince this up. Voila, you have some wonderfully fresh minced garlic. Just like that. Ready to go? All right, last one. Last but not least, our onion. Okay, I'm going to cut off our end of our filled onion. Slice this baby in half. I'm going to julienne it all the way through, almost all the way through. So I have something to hold on to here. We're going to do this other side. Just julienne almost all the way up. But you don't, if you go all the way through, that's fine. It's just easier to hold on to if you leave yourself a little end. And just julienne that, and then you just dice this up like this. Comes in perfect little cubes, and then you can just finish the rest. The little tail ends, just like that. Never have enough onions in this house. We go for onions and garlic. So much in this home. There we go. That's our first one. Same thing here. Right. Go right into the pot. And then we are going to just slice this last piece up. Just like that. We got a nice diced onion. I did a little extra today. That's how we will be using this. That's why we'll save this for another wonderful recipe or meal. That's why I love these glass containers. They got beautiful little snap-on lids here, and you can use them for the next meal coming. But I want to show you a little bit about basic prep. Again, we've got the grated potatoes. We've got our wonderful diced bell pepper here. I'm adding in some diced jalapenos because we love it. We got some fresh grated minced garlic. We've got some wonderful diced onions and some wonderful diced mushrooms. All right, let's strain these potatoes and we're gonna get to work. All right, for our potato roll-up situation, we are gonna start with our wonderful fresh eggs straight from the farm. I love this. You guys can give your shells back to the chickens. They love it. That's why I have this little bowl here that I kind of save scraps and stuff goes right to the chickens. And normally you can just do 3 large eggs, but my chickens are still pretty young, so we're doing 4 small to medium eggs. And we're just gonna whisk these babies up really well, get all the yolk separated. And just like, all right, I'll teach you another little secret about this to help your seasonings spread really well. Put them inside your liquids. So I'm going to do a couple of tablespoons of my wonderful 7 seasoning mix. My 7 seasoning mix is garlic powder, onion powder, or say granulated garlic or garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika. I've got turmeric in there, ginger powder, a dash of salt, and a wonderful Italian seasoning mix that I love to add in here. And we just blend this up right into the egg. Okay, it's a little lumpy, but it will really help bring all those wonderful spices to our potato mixture. Okay, so we've got our potatoes, got a couple large Idaho potatoes, basically, that we have cleaned, grated, and rinsed off. we're going to take half our pepper mix. So that's technically one large bell pepper that we're going to throw into this mix. We're going to take in our jalapeno, half of that. That means one large jalapeno diced well. We're taking half of our onions. So that's one large onion. Just diced just like that right into this mix. Also, we're going to take about a tablespoon of fresh garlic, throwing that right into that, and putting our egg mixture into this and mix. That's what we want. We want to get this nice and coated. Let's keep mixing until this is all beautifully coated together. Right, just like that. Just beautiful. I absolutely love following food places and social medias, whatever, because I get so many great ideas and I figure out how am I going to make this my version, right? And I love this. So again, we are really just mixing this to make sure everything is well coated. That's really, really important so that you'll see what we're going to be doing next and why this is so important to make sure that it is thoroughly mixed through. Right, you can tell because you're going to see that egg glossing over this potato mixture just like this, right? And you see those wonderful seasonings mixed into this. Just beautiful. Should have a nice, wonderful glossiness to the potatoes. If you can see that, that's how you know that you're getting the eggs thoroughly blended. Oh, we have some escapees. All right, throw them back in. All right, we're going to move this over. And next, we're going to get the sheet pan lined with parchment paper, as you guys can see here. Moving just a few things out of my way. And so what we want to do is just to kind of get this to stick a little bit, I just take some, I love these brushes, wonderful, wonderful brushes here. And I just take a little bit of oil, not a lot, just a dash, help our paper kind of stick to the pan. Not necessarily needed, but it sure has helped me out. And I'm going to do the same here on the top. More important on the top because I want these potatoes to be a little crispy as we're cooking here. We're just going to spread this out. It doesn't take a lot. And you can just take a teaspoon, maybe if that, tablespoon max. That's a lot. I don't even think you need that much. And see how well this brush, silicone, right? This wonderful brush just goes and gets that nice and evenly smoothed out on our parchment paper. All right, our next thing is we're going to take this potato mixture we just made. We're going to line this sheet pan. This. We'll worry about making it even here in just a second. We want to line this out. Now you see why it was so important to get that egg evenly coated, because that's going to be our binder for these potatoes. And we want it pretty thin, so you don't want to necessarily go up the whole way. And I might have a little bit too much, but you know, hey, once you fill a potato, which you could save the rest, those are pretty large. So I am going to take out just a little bit. Just save that for later. Just kind of smooth this out. Like I said, you don't want this to be too thick, everyone, because you're going to be using these to roll up stuff. If you feel like you have a little too much, just thin it out. I might even get another sheet pan because I have a lot. Maybe I could have just used the one potato. But here we go. I just break out, like I said, that second sheet pan. There we go. Really important to have an egg coating everything, because that is going to be your binder, and we're going to need that for later. Okay, let me pause this while I clean up my hands. All right, we are got this nice and even out. Make sure that there's no holes or gaps in your sheet pan here, right? You want to make sure this is just all ready to go, thinly layered. And I did have a little bit extra to also another pan. So if you got a large family, definitely go with the 2 potato mixture. If you just I would go with the 1 potato and maybe even do like just the half a pan. So again, this is ready to go, and we've got this wonderful mixture. We're going to throw this into the oven at 350 for 20 to 25 minutes. All right, for our filling for our roll-ups, we are just taking a stainless steel pan here, and we're going to be adding in some diced onion, like that. The rest of our onion goes in here just like this. Adding in the rest of our pepper, wonderful, beautiful bell pepper. This is one do 2. One for the filling, 1 is for the potato roll-up part. Also the same thing with the onion, 1 onion, 1 bell pepper. We're putting the rest of our jalapeno in here. We're going to start sauteing those up. I like to do that to get the flavor before I even add the meat, which we are going to be adding wonderful round sauce in here, but we're going to let these saute for a few minutes before we even add in our mushrooms. And definitely waiting for our garlic at the very end so it doesn't burn. All right, we're going to give it a few minutes and we'll be back to put in our mushrooms. These are roasting away, so we're going to add in some mushrooms. I didn't know how many I was going to need, so I diced up a few, about 6 or 7 large mushrooms. So we're going to throw this in here like this. Get them sauteed in this wonderful. We start with some olive oil, 1 onion, 1 pepper, 1 jalapeno, and about, now that I've cut this in half, I'm going to say probably 4 large mushrooms that we are throwing in here like that. Getting that nice and sauteed. So let that go for just another minute or 2, and then we're going to add in our meat. And just a couple of minutes of that, we're going to have this wonderful, fresh, unseasoned ground pork, straight from my local rancher. Guys, savor my life, literally support your locals, everyone. And we are just going to put this in here. Never hurt to have too much of this little mixture. If you have any leftovers, it's going to go perfectly in a wonderful omelet. So I am using 2 pounds of my sausage, because I think I do want to make sure not only do I have enough for these roll-ups, but also, like I said, it's not going to hurt. And I got a little bit left over for the next meat. All right, we're going to brown this up and check on it as we go. All right, so our sausage is about halfway cooked, so we're going to add in our garlic now so we can avoid the burning. So we're going to add in the remainder of our fresh garlic. Turning this in just like this so that can cook without burning, but giving us that wonderful flavor. Also, we're going to be adding in some of my 7 seasoning spice mix here, a couple of tablespoons, just like that. Bring it some wonderful, beautiful flavor. We'll mix this in. We're going to let this finish cooking until it's done. I'll be back because we still have to add some wonderful grated cheese to this mixture. Right? Just, oh, the whole house smells fantastic. This is going to be another great recipe. All right, we'll be right back. All right, we have grated about a pound of cheese. I love this wonderful hard Vermont white cheddar. And we are going to put half of this into our mixture here. And mix that all up, saving the rest for topping our wonderful roll-ups. A little too much. I want to save the other half for our roll-ups. We're just going to blend this in, getting this nice and cheesy. Don't we love cheese? Go to your delis. Make sure you're looking right there for all those wonderful hard cheeses. They don't have that caking craziness on it, right? We want some really good cheeses. You can go to your local dairy and they put cheese. It's a great place for that. Amazing. Love it. Always better, no matter what you do, to bite and block up. Just be really careful. Because if you see holes and stuff like that, Swiss cheese, if you see holes and whatever, just make sure that it's real cheese. Always be the detective out there and look at your ingredients. Just making sure this gets all blended. They're wonderful cheesiness. Look at this, everyone. So good. I think we're just a little bit more in here. Sure, everything's getting blended. Oop, we've got some escapees going on here. Want it nice and melted and creamy. And that is going to be ready to load our potato roll-ups as soon as they are done, which they are about ready to be done in just a few minutes. All right, our potato is finished, and what we are going to do is we are going to cut this right down the middle and divide this into roughly, well, it says 6 pieces, hopefully about the same size, just like that. Getting that well divided with a pizza cutter, see how I've done that. And so, and we're going to do our other one behind us. All right, got that done. We are going to fill these. So it's going to be hot. So we are going to try our best not to get burned. That's why we love the paper. Take a spatula here and get in between the paper. Hopefully this, look at that, awesome. All right. Let me put my cutting board over here so we can see a little bit better. Like that. Get our hot pads out of the way. This just came right out of the oven. So we got our potato just like that. Ready to go. Some of our wonderful mixture here goes into the middle. Just like this. We are going to roll this up best we can. Just like that. Into this beautiful little roll up, just like that, and put it on some parchment paper for cooking. Probably right back onto that same pan it came from. And we're going to be putting these back into the oven for finishing up. So our next one, it was definitely 25 minutes in the oven. It could have probably gone a little bit longer, but this is my first time doing this. This looks so good. Again, our wonderful little mixture. This time I'm going to use my spatula. Give me some help here. Because it is warm. Just like that. Rolling that up and over right into our pan. Just like that. We keep repeating this with all of these. I said, I really like using the spatula. It's hot. I'm trying to work fast here. So I don't burn my hands. Rolling it up into just like that. All right, I'm going to continue doing the rest, and we'll be back in just 1 second. All right, we have our wonderful roll-ups ready and finished and ready to go here. Back into the oven. So excited to make the second one because, yeah, I got children, right? This is not going to go very long, I'm sure, but this is just awesome. Kind of almost reminds me a little bit of like an enchilada situation. So the last thing we are going to do is top it with some wonderful cheese. That's why we saved some of this fantastic cheese, because everything's better with cheese, right? So I think so. We're just going to top this generously right here on our wonderful potato roll-ups. Tell you what, that's so good. I tasted that inside mix and it was just so awesome. This is going to be fantastic. Bring some of this love out here. There we go. Make sure it stays on the top, please. Right. Every bit of that. Okay, we are putting this back into the oven for another 25 minutes. We want to get this golden and crispy. Right, we took it out 25 minutes the first round because we want it to be pliable, right, so that we can make our roll-ups here. So now that that is done, we're ready to put them back into the oven for 25 minutes. I'm going to check on them, make sure they're nice golden brown, crispy, and looking good. And we'll back to see the finished products here. All right, well, our potato and sausage roll-ups are cooking in the oven. I thought it's an amazing idea for a sauce to go with this. So we've got some fresh baby dill here, and I just want to make sure that when you are doing this, you're taking it off these stems, right, and just kind of leaving the beautiful herb part. If you were going to make an oil or something like that, I'd say keep the stem, but just for eating, we want to take off all the stems and just leave these beautiful, beautiful herb areas here. And just going to mix this up so finely. Oh man, it smells like Grandma's kitchen with pickles. They go, she made some of the best dill pickles I've ever had in my life. But she also grew them. She grew her fresh dill and she grew her wonderful cucumbers for pickling. They were just some of the best in the world. Every time I smell dill, I kind of go back to that memory, but this is going to be awesome. So we want to finally chop, like I said, our dill here. Beautiful. Get all of that, those leaves minced up real well. Down into, see how it is just like maybe a couple tablespoons of that. That's how we want to have it. All right, so this is going to be pretty simple. We've got sour cream, we've got mayo, and so this is about half a cup of sour cream. Here, we're going to put into our little bowl. We're doing this now because I like the flavors to marinate a little while. You can do this fresh right before, but I'm going to put this in the fridge while our roll-ups are cooking. So about a fourth cup of mayo, half a cup of sour cream, everyone. Mix that all up together. I got some freshly grounded pepper and salt here. I like to grind my own. So freshly grounded pepper and freshly grounded salt. We've got about a teaspoon of that combined. We're going to be putting in some granulated garlic. Or you can do fresh garlic as well, but we'll put some granulated garlic since I've already eaten all the fresh garlic in the roll-ups. Love that. Get that mixed in here just like this. Beautiful. Then we're going to take this fresh dill. That's why I want it to marinate. So this dill just really marinates with the sauce and it comes off with this fantastic dill flavor, which I'm sure it is right now. The longer you can let this sit, if you want to make this overnight, it would really have a great dill flavor, but we're going to let this sit for the 20 minutes at least in the fridge while the roll-ups are cooking. And we've got this fantastic, amazing dill sauce to go with our roll-ups. Man, awesome. That's simple, guys. That's going to be fantastic. Like I said, we're going to put this fridge, let it just marinate, and we are going to see everything put together in just a few minutes. All right, these are done and looking phenomenal. So it is definitely time to plate these up. Just wanted to show you guys how awesome these look. Nice and crispy on the outside. I am excited, very excited to try this. Love learning new recipes. Very, very much. All right, so we are starting with our wonderful plate here and our dill sauce. We're just going to make a little beeline, just kind of something to hold this. And since we'll serve up two, just something that we just want to put on the bottom, just to make sure we got some wonderful dill sauce going on here for our roll-ups. Super awesome. All right, let's get these cut. I'll move our plate over here to the side and move our cutting board here. Grab one of these. Look at that. Look at this. Oh, heaven. Cut this into slices. Like that. Load this up. Put this right like that. Oh, look at how beautiful it is. Right? Let's do another one. This smells so good, everyone. Yeah, just a little over here. You can see we've got lined up just like that. Oh, I hope you guys try this. This looks so good. You can see, look at that. Finishing this off with a little bit of our dill sauce on top. Just right in between these crevices. Of course, a little bit of fresh herb. But just like that. And happy are we, everybody. Look at this, our wonderful potato sausage roll-ups. I am so excited to try this, guys, and thank you guys so much for joining. Don't forget to hit that like, follow, and share, and please try the recipe. What do you guys think of that? Were you happy? Oh, I'll tell you what, those turned out so good. I could not believe it, man. I love trying new things. This is why I like watching a few things and clips to get inspired. I'm like, how am I going to make that my own style? That turned out so good. I've always got a total, approval from the husband and the kids, right? But oh, he's like, yeah, you need to keep that one in the rotation. He loved that so much. That turned out so great. I hope you guys try that yourself. If you have any questions, let me know in the chats. I was joining you there. It's so good. You'll try that. You're welcome. You are welcome. I'm so excited. Oh, awesome. That is our first cooking video for tonight. And like I said, I saw that we played like a little version of that, but I had to do it my own style and see if it worked out. And it sure did. Definitely something to include in the rotation. You guys could add anything in that middle. I chose the sausage. The video that I saw, you chose chicken breast. You could use beef. There's so many ways that you can do that. But the great thing about that is you had this amazing potato with peppers and so forth as your roll up, right? Instead of a tortilla or anything like that, you can use potatoes and fill it. You could have made that enchilada style. You could have done so many alternatives with that. That's why I'm so excited about that, because we use potatoes instead of any grains to make our little shells, right? And rolling them up. There's just unbelievable, countless abilities that you could do with that. So I hope you guys enjoyed that very much. I hope that you guys try that. You tried. Very happy. And wow, that is exciting. So much fun. Let's bring our heart back to the kitchen, right? And have some fun with cooking as much as I do. All right, everyone. So that is our first one. This second one here I have for you literally just absolutely blew my mind, because I have been making bread. I actually started out as a pastry chef first before I became an executive chef. So, even when I had my own restaurant, I would start every morning with making 7 different kinds of breads, my own pastas, and then I would move on to my own desserts. Everything I used to ever make was from scratch. So to relearn how to do this stuff without those kind of flours is just been a whole new experience for me, whether I'm using arrowroot or something else. So I saw a little clip on Carnivore Buns. I was like, this can work with literally dried milk. So this just blew my mind. Not only did it turn out, it is phenomenal. So I'm like, I have got to make a cheeseburger video for you guys, and using these amazing carnivore buns so you guys can see how easy this is. So I hope you guys at least, get out your pieces of paper, because it's truly that simple. If you can make pancake mix, you can do this. So we are loading this up right now with our amazing cheeseburgers with some sauteed onions and mushrooms, homemade fries with our fantastic carnivore buns. So let's get ready and get out your notebooks and your pencils. I hope you guys enjoy this one as well. Here we go. I'm so excited to show you guys these carnivore buns. I cannot tell you how exciting this is. It's going to be so easy. If you can make pancakes, you can make this, and it's just going to be exciting. 3 ingredients, guys. So we're going to move our bowl out of the way here. We have our wonderful organic dried milk. Make sure when you read the ingredients, it says nothing but dried milk. We've got our eggs here, fresh from the farm, and wonderful baking powder. All right. So what are we going to do? We're going to move this over here for a minute. We're going to take our eggs out of here. I am definitely doubling this recipe. I've made this previously to see just if it would work or not. That's why I'm so excited about this. So 3 eggs, you're roughly going to make 3 large buns. So kind of 1 egg per bun. So depending on how many you want, depends on if you want to just keep this, for that small of a recipe, or if you want to double it or even triple it. So we're doubling it because I want to have 6 of them. So we're going to crack our eggs in here, saving our shells for our wonderful chickens. Just like this. So I crack these in here. I don't know why I necessarily need to crack them in this bowl, but that's okay. You could have done it in our larger bowl as well too, but here we go. So we've got our eggs, and we are just gonna mix these up, get these broken up. Like I said, we might as well just throw this right into our bowl here. And of course, we have it. And just make sure that these are really all whipped up. The yolks are broken. We've got some wonderful blending, some air goes up into these. Just making sure they're all broken up. That doesn't take very long. All right, the next thing we're going to do is add baking powder. We're going to add in 2 teaspoons of baking powder. There's 1. There we go. Sorry. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. That is vitally important here. Mixing that up with our eggs. Getting all of that mixed in and incorporated with our eggs. So far, 6 eggs, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I've got 3 cups of dried milk. Add in half of this first. Kind of getting it incorporated and mixed in. You guys could definitely use a food processor or a hand mixer. I'm just doing this by hand because it's just so super fast. We want to add in the rest of this. It's going to be a nice thick batter, everyone. So you can see, going to blend this in here. Making sure to get all of our pieces out of our whisks. That's why if you want to use an electric hand mixer, you could. Just getting our pieces out of our whisks here. So we want to incorporate all this. Don't want to lose any of this. All right, everyone, just take a second to get this all out of here. There we go. Just mixing in the rest with the spoon. Again, this is going to be a really thick batter, so it's thicker than your pancake mix for sure, but just awesome. Look at that. Look at that. Also, like I said, just formed awesome, amazing dough. See how thick this is though, everyone? I put my finger in it. It barely sticks. That's basically what you want. Just like that. All right, so I incorporated all this. You just like a real thick batter, guys, for frosting. This is kind of what you want. So we are going to put these onto our pan here. I'm going to take a little bit of olive oil and just line our parchment just with a little bit of olive oil on the bottom. That's not necessarily called for, but I like to do that. Just giving it a nice little brush all over our paper here. We are ready to go. Also, I'm going to take a little spatula here. I'm also going to put a little olive oil on that as well, as you can see, because that's going to really help when we're taking out our buns here. So I've got a nice little scoop here. You can use an ice cream scoop or whatever you guys want to use. But as you can see here, that's why I've oiled this. So it's ready to go. So what we do is we just take scoop this about 1/3 scoop here. And that's why I've got this oil, so I can just literally just push this out. Makes life easier. That's not necessary, but hey, makes it easier, guys. So another 1/3 scoop. We'll just push that out just like that. They just kind of even form themselves. I mean, look at how awesome that is. We've got our oven preheated at 350. Just like this. So this makes, and these will spread out, guys. So you can make them even smaller than that if you don't want a large size bun. But this, see how I've done this recipe? This is going to only make 5. So if you're making it for a party or for a family, you may want to triple it. Like I said, these are going to really spread out. So they're going to be quite large. And that is okay because I like to make really large hamburgers to go with this or whatever. If you guys want to make it smaller, you can absolutely do that. So just kind of grabbing the rest of what I have in this bowl. And just making sure, adding these to these, and you can just kind of shape them yourselves just like this. And all shaped out. They will, like I said, enlarge quite literally. You guys will see after I make these. But that is it. We put this in the oven, 350 for 25 minutes. And that's it. Like I said, if you can make pancake mix, you can make this. Literally, if you're just doing this for one recipe, it's 3 eggs, 1.5 cups of dried milk, 1 teaspoon of baking powder. That's it. I've doubled it. So this was 6 eggs, 3 cups of dried milk, and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. You mix into a thick, like frosting, thick batter. Then you just scoop them out onto the parchment paper in the oven at 350 for 25 minutes. And that is it. And see them when they're done. All right, the second part of our meal today is we're making hamburgers with sautéed onions and mushrooms and French fries. As you guys can see, I have peeled and sliced our French fries, but I want to show you this before we get going on the French fries, which you probably will see because I throw them in the deep fryer behind me. It's awesome peanut oil. So anyways, one of the things I learned about, if you really want crispy fries, make sure you are soaking them in water. There's just 2 things that keeps them nice and beautiful. They don't get all tarnished and brown. Also, if you just let them soak for a few minutes, strain them out and rinse them out, you guys will get some of the best, crispiest fries. So that is what we are doing with that. So I just wanted to show you that first. You guys will see them as we are finishing here. And so, next thing we're going to do, we have a little bit of olive oil in here. We're going to start sauteing our onions. And that is the first thing that we want to do. I just tossed up 1 large onion here, nice and sliced like this, you guys. And we're going to start sauteing this slowly. And then as this starts to get halfway caramelized, we're going to throw in some butter with our mustard and garlic. But the first thing we actually want to do is saute our onions first. We're going to get those going and move on to our next part. In our next pan, we put a little bit of oil in this one as well, because my hamburger meat comes straight from my local, and it's actually so lean. I have to put a little bit of olive oil in there so that it fries it nicely. I've already went ahead and mixed in my wonderful 7 seasoning mix because we want to make sure it's nice and flavored. And so what I do is I just kind of grab a handful and I just form it into a ball and flatten it out. So you guys can see this, flatten it out to make my little hand formed hamburgers and throw them right in there. This would make 4. Again, forming those like that and right in there. One of Nurse Patrick's favorites, who loves hamburgers, as most of us do. I'm going to kind of scoot that over. Oh, that one probably for me. There we go. All right, we've got those in there. Take a sip of the nice form. Take up every ounce of this pan like that. We're going to start sauteing as we've got our wonderful onions sauteing in the background. All right, our onions are starting to get a little caramely. That's what we want. We want to see that beautiful brown caramely on our onions. Just going well. We're going to take a little bit of melted butter. Start out with a couple of tablespoons of melted butter to really get that wonderful good flavor going on. Help them to get more caramely. Right? Just let them saute in this absolutely amazing butter garlic, our garlic thin, our wonderful caramely, buttery sauteed onions. We're going to throw in some mushrooms and garlic. Garlic being the last, because remember, garlic burns really fast. So now that we've got these probably about halfway there, we're going to throw in our wonderful mushrooms. And we're going to let these start cooking down, because we want everything to be that wonderfully caramel color heaven. All right. All right, while everything is cooking, we're going to make a little sauce for our burgers today. So, grab my knife. We got about, maybe half a cup, fourth of a cup of mayo. Love to make that. I also make my own barbecue sauce. So that is right there as well. I have these amazing bread and butter pickles from the wonderful Abbott Farms. Absolutely love them so much. So we are going to just slice these up and mince these up here to go into our sauce. Just making sure we get these all beautifully minced up. Like that. Just takes a minute. Love bread and butter pickles so much. You use whatever pickles you want. I'm sure dill would be just as great. But there we go. We got wonderful bread and butter pickles. So that's going right into our sauce. Just like that. I got some wonderful fresh horseradish. Wonderful fresh horseradish. You guys can buy that. That's one of the things I'm really looking forward into growing this horseradish and turmeric. But we are going to take, it's really powerful, so maybe like half a teaspoon of fresh horseradish. I got my wonderful barbecue sauce, a couple tablespoons of that. Love making barbecue sauce. I need to do an episode on how to make that for sure. Absolutely awesome. And we are going to mix this up, and it's really that simple. But I love to make my sauces ahead of time and let them sit for a few minutes so they get completely marinated. But we've got this fantastic sauce that's going to go on our burgers today. Okay. I need to put a pinch of my 7 seasoning mix in here. You guys can add salt and pepper if you want, but I need to have a little bit of seasoning going into this as well. I was just about a half a teaspoon. Let's see. There we go. That's what's missing. And voila. Again, some mayo, barbecue sauce, some bread and butter pickles, a dash of horseradish, and about a half a teaspoon of seasoning mix. You guys are going to have a wonderful sauce here for your burgers today. Our mushrooms are doing, and onions are doing great. So we are going to just keep them going. They're beautifully sauteing down in wonderful butter. So we're going to now add in. I literally cut up a whole clove of garlic, everyone. We love garlic. We're going to let this saute until it gets beautifully all caramely and brown. We'll be back to check on that in just a minute. All right, we have cooked our hamburgers nicely and grilled on both sides, or sauteed on both sides. I was at the local deli, and they had some amazing Irish cheddar that I had them cut for us. So we are going to be using this beautiful Irish cheddar on our burgers today. You guys can use the cheese of your choice, but I really love this nice hard Irish cheddar. And I had, tasted it before I ordered it. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, please. Nice and hard, beautiful. We're going to let that saute and finish up and melt all over our wonderful burgers. And we're about ready to go here. All right, time for French fries. Love, love, love this, you guys. Wait till you see these. Look at that, how beautiful and crispy these are. Super excited. Look at that. See what I mean? That's why I like to soak them in the water. Let them sit. So we got these beautiful crispy French fries. Look at that. All righty, we got these out. We are going to sprinkle a little bit of the wonderful seasoning mix, just like that. Toss these up, just like that. We have our beautiful French fries ready to go with our wonderful dinner. These are our buns, everyone. Look at this. I mean, can you even believe it? You do not need to go any further with this. This is our buns, and it's very hot, very hot. Look at the size of these things. The only thing I'm going to do, just because I like to, is I'm going to take a little bit of melted butter, and I'm going to put these on the top, just like this. If you do not have to do this, but I love some melted butter. I'm going to just put some on the top, put them back in the oven for just a few minutes, no more than 5 minutes, just to get some wonderful golden brown. And we are going to be ready. Look at the size of these things. You see how big compared to my hand? Absolutely amazing, guys. Dried milk, eggs, and baking powder, and you have these amazing fresh breads. Look at that. All right, trying to plate this all up. As you guys can see, our wonderful buns, they are hot, but you can see how beautiful, nicely brown they are, how big they actually turned out. So I am going to grab one here, and we're going to cut it open so you guys can see what it looks like on the inside. Look at that. When I say bread, look at that. That is absolutely astonishing. So I am telling you guys, super easy, and having fresh bread in a matter of like 25 minutes. And that's basically the cooking time, because it didn't take very long to make this at all. So we are going to move this over and plate up our wonderful dinner for today. All right, here is our awesome plate ready to go. And we are going to start with our burger right here and this wonderful sauce that we just made. Just like this, making sure that we get that nice good amount on that bottom. Our wonderful burger with that beautiful Irish cheddar. Oh my gosh, it's just melting all over the place. How awesome is that? Our wonderful Irish cheddar. Topping this with our amazing sautéed mushrooms and onions. Look at that, everyone. Look at that. So good, so good. Some are trying to escape. We're going to take this top, put a little bit more sauce on that. Just making sure we got that. We'll put that right off to the side so we can take pictures. And the next thing we're doing is we've got our wonderful homemade French fries. We're just putting right here. Look at this, everyone. So much fun and so good. You're not going to find this in a restaurant unless it was my restaurant. I'll tell you what, you would not find this. How many restaurants are finding this? But look at this. This is our homemade bread, carnivore bread, homemade burgers with sautéed mushrooms and onions, our wonderful homemade sauce, fresh cut French fries, and a beautiful little fruit on the side. I hope you guys all try this. I'm telling you, it's worth it. Let me know if you guys do and what alterations you guys like to make also. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the video. Wow. Right? Wow. 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 You guys can tell when I get really excited about something that just totally works out. And I mean, that was one of them. I mean, right? And I mean, like Nurse Patrick totally approved. If you guys have ever watched the show before, you know how much he doesn't really like grains, to be honest. I mean, he never really has, but he's so against it because it causes so much inflammation in our bodies, right? But he was like, this is something I could totally do. He absolutely loved it. So my arrowroot flour pizza dough and my wonderful grain-free carnivore buns, I just found something absolutely amazing. It blew my mind. It really did. I was like, is this going to turn out? Not only did it turn out really well, it just was that phenomenal. Now, there is a little downside about this. You know, this is not something most fresh breads you're not going to be able to keep around forever, but this is something you definitely want to use in the matter of a day or two, even if you wrap them in plastic and stuff, because they are definitely something that you need to eat fresh. Okay. So if you think you're going to save these, you might be able to freeze them and then defrost them. And you might be able to do that. I have not done that yet, but it's so easy. Why not just literally whip yourself up some of these buns, throw them in the oven and have them absolutely fresh. You could even slice them the next day, make like French toast with them or whatever you want to do. You could have sandwiches with them. Those buns were awesome. And you guys see how much we love cheeseburgers in this house. I'm always trying to find a million different ways to make cheeseburgers because that is truly Nurse Patrick's absolute favorite thing in the world. So I've got a million different ways I make those, and that was a total winner. Are you guys not surprised? Right? You already bookmarked this show. Thank you so much, you guys. And yes, yum, yum, yummy. Yes, that is so awesome. I can't even tell you. So you guys, if you got allergies out there, you're trying to have a grain-free life, you want to have get rid of some inflammation and stay away from those grains, whatever you want to do, you just want to throw this in, just try it. I honestly suggest you do. I dropped a link over there in Rumble. You guys can just find your organic dried milk anywhere. Even if you're going to the store, just check the ingredients. That's the most of the thing. Be those detectives, right? And make sure it says just dried milk. You don't want to have all these other a million different, ingredients added to it. That was literally the only thing on there was just dried milk. That was the only ingredient. So that's what you're looking for, whether you get it in a store or if you order it online. Just make sure that you are those little detectives. But again, those buns were eggs, dried milk, and baking powder. That was it. You could even spice those up. You could add different flavors to them. You could top them off with sesame seeds. Whatever you wanted to do, there is a million things that you guys could do with that. But that just blew my mind. So that was the second time I made them. The first time I made them because I wasn't really trusting that. I mean, again, being a pastry chef and a bread maker for 20 plus something years, even longer than that, because I've been out of the restaurant business now for 15 years. So I've been doing this now for a long time. I'm that old. But it's just really, really amazing. It just blew my mind. And so I hope you guys try that. Let me know if you do. And I'm telling you, it's twice now I've made them. Both times they turned out phenomenal. And I am so excited to see if you guys do that too. Amazing. Can I send them to Florida? Thank you, Kimberly, for reposting that show. And it is easy. Absolutely easy. I'm just telling you, it's just something you guys all need to try yourself. I mean, the first time I made those, believe it or not, I did some barbecue pork. right? So I made homemade baked beans. I should have taped it because I was like, but I was just cooking dinner. And I was like, let's see how these work. So I made some amazing shredded homemade barbecue pork and some amazing homemade baked beans. So now I have to do an episode for you guys for that, and tried those buns, that way. I was like, okay, because I was like, all right. So, I make a whole homemade coleslaw, and I made a whole barbecue event with that. And I was like, wow, this turned out great. But I love burgers as well. So look forward to seeing a video where we're making our own homemade barbecue week. That would be really awesome, because I need to teach you guys how to make your own barbecue sauce, which I do and I can myself. How to make, some shredded barbecue pork, baked beans, coleslaw. So we will look for that forward. We will look forward to that in the future. I'm so glad you guys enjoyed that. Oh man, thank you so much. I'm really, really happy. If you have any questions, you guys know how to reach out to me. You put things in the permanent comments or whatever, because I'm here to help you in any way. So like I said, it was so important to just get out a notebook, at least for that. Again, if you're just making this, think about it, 1 egg. So the first recipe called for 3 eggs. So it's like 1 egg per bun. So that's, if you're only going to make 3, the recipe was like 1.5 cups of dried milk, 3 eggs, 1 teaspoon of baking powder. That simple, and mix. That simple, right? So there you guys go. If you're making it for a whole family, the first time I made it, I tripled it. And I was like, okay, can we save these? Can we not? That's why I know that after a day or so, yeah, probably not so good. Okay. But there you guys go. I'm glad you enjoyed. So that is our first half of the show. Super excited about bringing you great ways to feed your body. Yes, now it's time to get to our second portion, as we are going to feed your soul. We're going to focus on those small things that compromise us and allow negativity and harmful influences into our lives. I happen to be watching something, and I found this amazing video that we're going to be watching together. How those smallest choices matter, and how we need to take and recognize, remove, and guard against those things that bring such evil and harm to our lives. But before we do that, we're going to get on to one of my most favorite things in the world, and that is the Be Blessed prayer, because I don't know what is going on with you guys. You don't know what's going on with me, but we all need prayer. And my wonderful, wonderful friend gave me this wonderful little gift. On a Bedazzle card, she wrote this Be Blessed prayer. And I've been doing this now for almost 3 years, every Sunday. This is something I include every day in my personal prayers, because I want you to all know that I'm praying for you, whether I know what's going on with you or not. God knows, right? So this is our wonderful little segue, is our awesome Be Blessed prayer, and we'll be back to feed your soul.